Coming up on the South Florida High School Football Show, Northeast and Southwest are both headed in the direction of the playoffs. On the recruiting trail, Blue has a look at the future Hurricanes, and we'll preview the final week of the regular season. All of that and more coming up next on the South Florida High School Football Show. Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to the South Florida High School Football Show. Joe Zagacki with Don Bailey Jr., and we are at the newly renovated Dave & Buster's right off of Sheridan Street here in Hollywood, your ultimate sports viewing destination. And we are inside the new sports lounge, Don Bailey Jr., very comfortable. I'll be spending a lot of time here on the weekend watching football games on their big screen TVs.
Well, you can, Joe. Over 6 big screen TVs. You have pool tables, lounge chairs, all you can eat, all you can drink. It's a perfect spot to watch a ball game.
I just know this. I'm not going to play you in pool because I know you'll hustle me.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. All right, let's get to our serious football action. A lot of teams on their way to the playoffs. Congratulations to Cypress Bay. They made the playoffs from 8A along with Boyd Anderson. They're well on their way. A couple of other schools headed in that direction as well. In Broward County, one of the hottest teams going right now, Northeast High School. The Hurricanes are playing great football.
Well, Donnell Bennett, Joe, has done a fantastic job as the head coach and a former Hurricane himself. The thing that's been impressive with them is the fact that they lost a ball game, and since then they have outscored their opponents by 160 points. You combine that with the fact that they have a great running attack out of the backfield. They're having success running the football, well over 750 yards as out of the combination. But the thing that gets me, especially this time of year, is the type of defense that they're playing. Holding opponents well under 10 points per ball game is exactly what the doctor ordered when it comes time for playoffs.
You've got to love the nickname as well, the Black Hole Defense. Quality wins at the beginning of the year against Miramar. Last year played for the state championship. Boyd Anderson, we just mentioned them, going to the playoffs. So this Black Hole defense has a chance to carry them right through the playoffs.
They do, and everybody wants to talk about the points and the rushing yardage and everything that happens on the exciting side of the football. When you talk defense this time of year, that's where every coach will hang his hat and tell you, we need defense to win championships. Coach Bennett had the game scheduled early that gave his team confidence. They had that loss, and the thing is, when you lose a football game, a lot of times it gives the head coach advantage again to have some leverage on the players and help them understand that they have to prepare a certain way if they're going to win big football games.
Also, offensively, they have one of the great players in Broward County, maybe in the entire state, wide receiver Stacey Coley. He is a playmaker, and he gives them big plays.
Well, Cooley's very explosive. He's a guy that can catch the football. He also has great acceleration. And when you have such a speed differential in the high school level, you really can stand out and make big plays at any time, and he has.
All right, let's go in the other direction. We're going to go south for another directional school. Southwest playing very well in Miami-Dade County. They've got an opportunity, and they're having a big season.
That they are, Joe, and really when you think about Southwest, nobody really had them on the radar screen to make the advance that they have through this year. They've done a great job. They've been well coached. They've had some success running the football throughout the season, but they're another team that has a defense good enough to help propel them into the playoffs.
Tim Neal is the head coach there, 6-4 a year ago. Got off to a great start, and when you get off to a great start, that gives you a lot of confidence.
Well, shoot out of the cannon, but really the thing is it started last year. You go 6-4, that gives you a season where you've built some confidence, you've built tradition, but more importantly, you've established your offense, you've established your defense. Then you jump into a year like this, and you can explode.
They have a senior linebacker by the name of Edney Alvarez leading their defense, which up to this point is allowing under a touchdown a game.
You think about that. We had talked about earlier in the show, 8 points a game possibly is the lucky number. Now you're talking less than 7, 6 points a game. It's almost unheard of. You can go so far into the playoffs and you can do so much more offensively you can take the risk that you need to take when your defense is holding opponents to less than a touch.
All right, they're coming off a big game against Varela that helps decide that district. And of course, they're going to finish the season up with Coral Gables. There were some big games this past weekend.
Well, thank you, Joe and Don. I'm Courtney Fallon from NBC6 South Florida. Here are some high school scores from Friday night. Let's go to Deerfield Beach, where they were taking on South Plantation. First quarter, Brandon Powell sneaks into the end zone on a 2-yard run, 7-0 Bucks. But Powell was just getting started in the second. He breaks free on a huge run. The Deerfield captain leads the charge, scoring 3 touchdowns in a 21-14 win over South Plantation. Cooper City Cowboys touching the cowboy hat before facing district rival St. Thomas Aquinas. Raiders quarterback John O'Corn calls his own number and makes it look easy. Aquinas on the board first, and they never really slowed down. St. Thomas turned this rivalry game into a huge blowout. Wide receiver Franklin Richardson takes the end around and shows off his wheels. Richardson and the Raiders cruise to a 53-0 win. Wolverines had a huge test Friday against the Central Rockets and their powerful rushing attack. Rockets at midfield, and Dalvin Cook is going to take this to the house. He hits the edge and no one's going to touch him. Central rolls over Belen 56-0.
Check out SouthFloridaHighSchoolFootball.com, where you will find recruiting overview powered by Larry Bluestein, review the weekly top 20, preview the top games in Dade and Broward County, catch up on Shaquille Jackson's blog and game recaps, nominate candidates for Player of the Year and for High School Teacher of the Year. Catch any of this season's TV shows you may have missed, plus a whole bunch more.
The South Florida High School Football Show is brought to you by Metro PCS, the U.S. Army, BP Gasoline, U18 Sports Medicine, Adidas, Sir Pizza, South Florida Chevy Dealers, Tico People's Gas, and Dave & Buster's.
A few years ago, I decided to push myself further. College, graduate school, degrees in aeronautics and engineering. And I learned that being my best means getting the best from everyone around me. Becoming an Army officer taught me to set high objectives and quickly rise to meet them. Kinda like a rocket.
An Army officer learns to reach new heights and inspires others to do the same. Can you? Find out at goarmy.com/officer.
They watch me all the time. And I think my mom found my stash of Sir Pizza boxes.
My parents are totally convinced that my ranch dressing habit is becoming a serious problem.
I told them I only eat squares and with only crumbled bits of pepperoni. They say that's how it all starts.
They just don't understand how good it is. A special blend of cheese, the sauce, the crunchiness, the dough.
But I can totally stop whenever I want.
It's not a problem.
I'm in complete control.
.9 is a breakthrough. 6.9 is a physics lesson. 6.9 is the outer limits. 6.9 is an explosion. Uh-oh, he just got faster. 6.9 is ounces, and that makes this the lightest ever.
The recruiting segment is brought to you by Metro PCS, wireless for all.
Back on the South Florida High School Football Show, Joe Zagacki with former University of Miami center Don Bailey Jr. coming to you from the newly remodeled Dave & Buster's here in Hollywood. It is your ultimate sports viewing destination. We are in the new sports lounge. It is absolutely gorgeous. We invite you to come on out here and enjoy some great football action. All right, Don Bailey Jr., some great football action as we move into our recruiting segment. And we're going to talk about the recruits that are perhaps going toward the University of Miami with Larry Bluestein. And as we saw this year, the Hurricanes are playing a lot of freshmen.
Well, Al Golden makes the promise to everybody that he recruits that you can play as a freshman if you're ready. And the players that are ready this year have played for the University of Miami. 21 freshmen have been on the field, had numerous players that have started, and a lot of those guys have been local. And what I mean local, Joe, is the eye of the hurricane. Tampa, Orlando across, all the way down to the Keys.
All right, well, so who will be some of those future Hurricanes on our Metro PCS recruiting segment with Larry Bluestein? I have here my trusty Huawei Activa. You know what these kids do? We've been doing it all wrong. We've been calling blue. You got to text. You got to text today.
Text him out,
we got to text, so we're going to text Larry Bluestein about the future Hurricanes. Larry, what do you have for us?
Oh, look at this. Texting. Hey, Larry, how's the University of Miami going to do this year? Well, Joe and Don, Oh, do I have some names for you. Already committed for the next class, 2013, running back Alex Collins from South Plantation. This is another kid that is a difference maker. You know, guys, when you got Duke Johnson in the fold, everybody was so excited. Then they watched him play as a freshman. Well, Alex is the same type of player. This kid is a phenomenal talent. Also, we talked about Jamal Carter, a safety. He already committed. This is a big-time prospect from Miami South Ridge. Physical type of player. When he's healthy, guys, I don't think there's any better. And rounding it out in Dade County for the University of Miami recruiting class is Artie Burns. Now, you know what? You take a look at a kid like Artie Burns. He's got all the speed. He's got all the talent. He's shown he can kick off return, play defense, offense. This is the type of player that Al Golden goes for. It's phenomenal how when you have success like that, you can really make something go. Now, let's look out of the area for Miami. And there's some tremendous athletes within the state of Florida, but excellent kids. What about Travis Johnson, the tight end from Tampa Jesuit? A phenomenal talent, a big-time guy, gets upfield, blocks. This is in the mold of some of the tight ends that the University of Miami had in the past. Well, I'm going to give you the next one. You'll get the last name Olsen. His brother, well, one of the best tight ends Miami's had. This one is Kevin Olsen. He's a quarterback, and he's from Wayne Hills, New Jersey, just like his brother was when he played tight end here at Miami. I'll tell you guys, this is one of those guys that takes you to the next level, takes you to that BCS level and keeps you there. Phenomenal talent, makes all the throws. He's made all the throws for 3-4 years. And another guy, another familiar name, Ray Lewis III. I mean, you'd love to have a Ray Lewis II all over again, but Ray Lewis III, he's a running back. He's from Lake Mary Prep. Big-time prospect, guys. I'll tell you what, I'm going to text you back right now and tell you a little bit about some of the other kids to watch. Hey, stay tuned. We got some more for you.
Thanks, Larry. Tico, People's Gas. Before you pick up the shovel, pick up the phone, call 811. Tico, People's Gas is awarding the Player of the Year award to one player in Miami-Dade and one player in Broward. To nominate a player, visit SouthFloridaHighSchoolFootball.com. Look for the Tico Vote Here icon. Nominations are open until November 30th. Players take home a beautiful crystal trophy, and the schools that vote the most receive a $500 donation. The winners will be announced during our National Signing Day TV show on February the 6th.
The Sports Medicine Timeout is brought to you by U18 Sports Medicine, your sports medicine provider for the young athlete.
We continue now on the South Florida High School Football TV show with our U18 Sports Medicine Timeout as we come to you from the Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital here in Coral Springs at the U18 Sports Medicine facility. And joining us now is Whitney Chambers, the senior member of the staff here at U18. And Whitney, let's talk about injuries to female athletes. More females are playing sports than ever before, which also leads to a lot of injuries.
Yes, female athletes have 6 times higher risk of injury to the ACL than the male athletes, and there are several reasons for this. One of them is actually the most preventable reason, and that's the lack of neuromuscular control or landing with a stiff leg or hyperextended knee. Also, landing with your knee bowing inwards puts them at an intrinsic risk of weakening the ACL and causes it to result in a tear or a pop to the knee and usually requires surgery.
I think the big breakthrough has been there's been a lot of research, and with facilities like this, that perhaps the ACL injury to a female athlete can be prevented.
Yes. Women tend to move differently than men. Guys are more comfortable maneuvering from a very deep athletic position, which engages a lot of the stability muscles of the knee and the hip. Girls tend to stand more upright and move more upright, reduces their stability or stabilization, co-contraction of the muscles supporting the knee. That actually causes their knee to rely more on the ligaments than onto the muscles. And there are a lot of ways of training that control, teaching them how to jump and land properly, plyometric programs and strengthening programs that help to prevent these injuries.
And a lot of those things can be done here, and thank you very much for all of the information.
The Teacher of the Year Award is brought to you by the South Florida Chevy Dealers. Chevy runs deep. The South Florida Chevy Dealers will be recognizing outstanding educators and handing out $4,000 in donation. Help us by nominating a high school teacher for the 2012 South Florida Chevy Dealers High School Teacher of the Year Award. Chevy will award a crystal trophy to one teacher in each county, plus each teacher school wins a $2,000 general donation. Visit SouthFloridaHighSchoolFootball.com to learn how to nominate a teacher for consideration. We are accepting nominations until January 16th. Winners will be announced February 6th. More of the South Florida High School Football Show after this.
The Chevy Cruze Echo also offers 42 mpg on the highway.
Actually, it's Cruze Eco, not Echo.
Just like either. Or either.
Or economical.
Or economical. Potato, potato, huh?
Actually, it's tomato, tomato.
Oh, that's right.
See your South Florida Chevy dealer. That's 42 miles per gallon highway on the fuel-efficient Chevy Cruze Eco. Come on in today and check it out for yourself.
Tico People's Gas presents Make the Call.
Hey, what's Bert digging up?
I don't know, planting a tree?
Did he call 811, before he started?
It doesn't sound like it.
Before you pick up the shovel, pick up the phone. Dial 811 and get your utility lines marked for free. Avoid the fines. Don't hit the lines. If you hit a utility line, you can interrupt your service and your neighbors too. Know exactly what you're digging yourself into. Call 811. Brought to you by Tico People's Gas.
Rhapsody puts millions of songs on your Metro phone, so you can create your life soundtrack. That's why everybody's moving to Metro.
The Coach of the Week is brought to you by Adidas. All in.
Welcome back to the South Florida High School Football Show. Joe Zagacki, Don Bailey Jr. We are enjoying the new sports lounge here at the newly remodeled Dave & Buster's, your ultimate sports viewing destination. Time now for our Coach of the Week. We are familiar with him. He was at the University of Miami. Prior to that, at Booker T, back there right now, and has really contributed to the community in a lot of different ways. Tim Ice Harris.
Well, Joe, they're happy to have Tim back on campus at Booker T. He's done a phenomenal job, won a championship before he went to the U. Now he's back again, got his team rolling, does a phenomenal job disciplining his young men. But more importantly, the thing that has always impressed me about Coach Harris is that he wants his players to be students and he wants them to be prepared for life. He spends as much time teaching those kids how to perform in the classroom and after they get out of college or high school than he does on the playing field.
The Tornadoes are having a great season, and they are expected to be a tough out in the playoffs. Tim Ice Harris, our Adidas Coach of the Week. Adidas, all in. Here's Brian Stahl.
Thanks, Joe and Don. We've got a familiar face back with us. Booker T. Washington's coach Tim Harris went to the college ranks, had some success there, but said Booker T is where your heart is. Coach, how does it feel to be back?
It's been great to be back. Really, to watch these young kids develop is in my passion and my heart to get back to have an opportunity to help develop young people. And I'm so excited. I think we put together a great staff that really believe in what we're trying to do here with these student athletes. And so far, the guys has really been heed and listening to the messages and the statements that we're trying to put out, and hopefully it shows.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned a great staff. On your Sunday dinners must feel like an offensive meeting. Your son's the quarterback. Your son's also the offensive coordinator. How much does that help in just having that familiarities and on Friday nights what you're getting out of your children?
No, it's good. I think any father wants an opportunity like this for his kids to be a part of their development as well in terms of what they're doing. For Tim as a coach and for Treon as a student athlete. It's just an awesome experience, and I'm something that I'm so blessed and have an opportunity to watch it work, right in my eyes.
Yeah, and Treon's a very talented quarterback. He's also got some good running backs. Talk about your overall offense. You run a high-octane spread offense. How do you use that to your benefit?
So far, I think the offensive line has been the key to it all because they have really coming together, really understanding what the defense is doing. They're doing a good job communicating. And so that really helping the athletic part of the skilled guys being able to do their job.
And also on the defensive side of the ball, you got Matthew Thomas, who might be one of the best linebackers maybe we've seen down here. How does he help the rest of his defense come together and play?
It's been good. I think at the beginning of the season, everything started off with, with him being able to get a lot of the hype that he jumped in 1 year. But overall, unfortunately for him, he hasn't been playing that much because of little injuries. And so our team has really gotten better with the depth that we really have developed over the last, 3 weeks. Our depth of our football team has really improved. But the leadership of what Matthew is bringing, even not playing, has really helped our team grow.
Coach, you had a lot of success at Booker Booker T. Then you went to college ranks, had a lot of success there. You came back, and right off the bat, you went to the state championship game with a young team. You brought a lot of those back. Now, as a coach, that has to make your job a little bit easier in knowing players are executing.
The thing that helped me, being able to have an opportunity to Randy Shannon, I really thank God and I really praise for him giving me the opportunity in those 3 years. And what I did there, I learned a lot from him and his organization skills, the way he talked to the players, the way he trained the players, the way he get those players ready. And those are things that we're doing here at Booker Washington. We was on point before I left, but I think now we have took it to that next level because our film, our meetings, our weight room, everything is a little different now than it was before because I learned so much with the opportunity being at Miami. And our kids are really impacting of that education that I brought, and that making us grow together. And now we're really doing the things that we need to do to help the development of our student athlete, and it's showing each week.
Coach, that's going to scare a lot of Miami-Dade coaches that you learned more from when you were last here at Booker T. Washington. So a face I'm sure you're going to see for many years here on the South Florida High School Football Show. Coach Harris, thanks so much for the time, and best of luck down the road.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. These student athletes, this is a great thing. And I just say from me and our community at Booker T. Washington Senior High School, thank you guys very much.
All right, Joe and Don, back to you guys.
Thanks, Brian. Time now for the Sir Pizza Play of the Week, sponsored by Sir Pizza, good to the very edge. Southwest and Ferguson at Trash Pal Stadium. For Southwest, DeAndre Pickett, right off the play action pass to Christian Torano, who breaks one tackle and runs clear to the end zone. 92 yards, a touchdown completion, lands the Eagles into the Play of the Week.
Hi, I'm Laura Duramiges with this week's Army Bowl nominees, brought to you by the U.S. Army, Army Strong. This week, we start off with Sanley Gene Felix, the offensive lineman from Boyd Anderson in Lauderdale Lake. Gene Felix measures in at 6'5" and just under 300 pounds. He uses his quick hands and nimble feet effectively when blocking and pass protection, and already has the size and athleticism for the offensive tackle position at the next level of competition. He committed to FIU in early October. Next up is the defensive back from Plantation High, Sojourn Shelton. Shelton comes in at 5'9", 150 pounds. He's a quick player, and although a bit shorter than ideal, he has great leaping abilities. Shelton had many offers from top-notch programs including South Carolina, Wake Forest, and Cincinnati, but committed to FSU.
The South Florida High School Football Show is also on Facebook and Twitter. Like us at SFHSFS and follow us at HSF Ball as soon as you can. You'll receive weekly updates from our insiders, news, announcements, and game day scoring updates from all over South Florida, plus deals and offers from our partners, including Sir Pizza, Sports Authority, Metro PCS, and many more. And we'll continue right after this.
At U18 Sports Medicine, our focus is on treating young athletes. Experienced pediatric orthopedic surgeons from Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital Department of Orthopedic Surgery work with the U18 staff to help meet a variety of needs: X-rays, MRIs, physical therapy, and much more. Our leading-edge facilities located at Memorial Hospital Miramar and Coral Springs are open year-round. U18 can help young athletes stay off the sidelines and on the field. A program of Memorial Healthcare System and Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital. Visit U18sportsmedicine.com.
It's Chevy Truck Month. Time to get in and grab a Silverado at your Chevy dealer where you'll get a great deal on the most dependable, longest-lasting, full-size pickups on the road. So gear up and get going. Get your hands on a legendary Silverado while the time is right. See your South Florida Chevy dealer. Now during Chevy Truck Month, get 0% APR financing for 60 months or trade up to get the 2012 Chevy Silverado Florida All-Star with a total value of $8,000. Hurry in before they're all gone.
The car on the left was filled up with low detergent gasoline, while the car on the right was filled up with BP gasoline with Invigorate, which helps clean and protect its engine, so it can get a few more miles per tank than the car on the left. Go a little farther with BP gasoline with Invigorate.
You need flooring? Well, call Don Bailey Flooring today for the lowest prices on the planet Earth. Brand names like Mohawk Carpet at 70% off and laminate starting at just 49 cents a square foot. Call Don Bailey Flooring today.
The keys to the game are brought to you by BP Gasoline with Invigorate, the preferred fuel of the South Florida High School Football Show.
And welcome back to the South Florida High School Football Show. Joe Zagacki with Don Bailey Jr. We're at Dave & Buster's in Hollywood, the newly remodeled Dave & Buster's in the gorgeous Sports Lounge. This is your ultimate sports viewing destination. Big weekend of high school football coming up. It is the last weekend of the regular season. We've got a great game for you. It's our simulcast on the radio on WQAM. Also on our website, SouthFloridaHighSchoolFootball.com. It's going to be South Dade taking on Homestead. These two are big-time rivals. With a preview, here's Mike Levine.
Thanks, Joe and Don. Our game of the week at Harris Field, South Dade against Homestead. The two rivals collide on what will be the 100th anniversary of the city of Homestead. There will be a parade down there. The festivities will then lead to a great kickoff between two rivals who are no longer in the same district. They're in different districts now. A heck of a year for South Dade. They are playoff bound. A very good season for Homestead as well. But that'll be the fun matchup down at Harris Field in the southern parts of Miami. Joe, Don, back to you.
Okay, Mike, thank you very much. It's going to be a hard-fought game. South Dade already district champs. But this is more than about the district. This is about pride and bragging rights. Now, Homestead coming off a big win against Carroll City. This is going to be a tough game for both teams. Homestead's had a surprisingly good year. They'll be a real challenge for South Dade.
Well, they have, Joe. They upset Carroll City, and their head coach got to make sure that they keep that momentum rolling. But when you talk about a rivalry game like this, really it boils down to the seniors, because both sides of the football, these seniors do not want to lose. A lot of these kids are going to stay in South Dade County. They're going to grow up there, they're going to raise families there, and they don't want to lose to each other. A big rivalry game.
South Dade is going to have to contend with a passing game of Homestead. Ermon Lane is averaging 27 yards a catch this season for Homestead.
You think of that number. I mean, it's almost 3 touchdowns per reception. This is a guy that does an outstanding job getting out of his break, but also focusing on the ball. He makes the sure catch, but he also makes the acrobatic catch as well.
All right, well, South Dade, as we mentioned already, district champs for bragging rights in that one. Speaking of bragging rights, this one in Broward County, Plantation and South Plantation. Both teams can run the football. It's a rival game. Plantation suffered a crushing loss to St. Thomas, but they're on their way to the playoffs anyway. They run the ball really well.
Well, listen, when you run the football, you can absorb time of possession. You can also create a play-action game, and you're going to help your defense. Both of these teams are rugged and physical, and it's going to be nice to see at the end of the game, when you look down at the stat sheet, who has the most rushing yards.
Plantation's averaging 40 points a game, and they went for 240 on the ground against Aquinas.
I mean, when you look at those numbers and you think about the opponents that they've done them with, it's nearly unbelievable. And you go into the playoffs, and if you think that you can rush for 200 yards in a ball game, that's almost a guaranteed victory.
And for South Plantation, Old Blue mentioned him earlier in our show, Alex Collins. He is the focal point in this game.
Alex Collins is a phenom. This guy is going to do a fantastic job at the next level. He can run inside between the tackles, but the thing that impresses me is he has that ability to bounce it outside, and also on some of those zone plays when he can cut it back with that outstanding vision.
Well, next week is the final weekend of the regular season in high school football. Where has the time gone?
It goes fast.
Well, we'll be back next week with a preview of the playoffs and what it will take to reach the state championship game. For Don Bailey Jr., I'm Joe Zagacki. We'll see you next week right here on the South Florida High School Football Show.
The South Florida High School Football Show is brought to you by Metro PCS, the U.S. Army, BP Gasoline, U18 Sports Medicine, Adidas, Sir Pizza, South Florida Chevy Dealers, Tico People's Gas, and Dave & Buster's.
Something in the white jersey, you bust it in the mouth until they blow the whistle. Hit him in the mouth all night long. Don't wait. Don't wait to see who's going to make the play. You be the one to make the play. You leader. You be the one. I'm counting on you. Let's go. Ready to? Let's go. Go back to the go.